Hello. This is a short video about embryology and cosmology. I tried something new. I try to start this whiteboard function and explain my thoughts on a whiteboard. So when we ignite and our metaphysical part or transcendental part gets into a body, we start as a zygote, right? So the zygote, it's a living organism, as Jaap van der Wal puts it. So it's a holistic being that evolves out itself. And it's a unification of the genome of mother and father and a metaphysical part of your soul, a metaphysical part of your being. So it starts as a unity. So this is the first dimension. It's one. It's just one point, one sphere, just one. In the second week, we divide, or our embryonic being becomes bipolar. So we have an endoderm and an exoderm. These are two dimensions. In speaking in geometry, it's width, depth, and length. It's also time, space, and the unification of it. But in embryology, it's the bipolar disk. And the 21st day, we get a heart. So the development of the heart is in this third week. It takes some days, but the heart starts to beat at the 21st day. The heart represents, in cosmology, the third dimension, because we have, as Jaap van der Wal puts it, a layer, a chyme that is flowing between two layers, and it's connecting it and dividing it. And the heart, from a cosmologic point of view, connects the two poles. In our world, everything is polar. It's not only that we have two lamina, two layers as an embryo, we also divide everything in good and bad, high and low, deep and shallow. And we always have opposite poles. So the heart is something that reunifies or makes the connection to the poles. And as a human being, this means the heart is always evaluating. It has the function of evaluating the two poles and find a connection. And in embryology, the heart connects the ectoderm and the exoderm. So the heart is something as a third dimensional organ that is connecting the two poles, and it's also connecting us to the other dimensions. So our life needs connection of the two poles. The embryo needs connection of the two layers. So in embryology, we have the three dimensions in our body. And on a metaphysical level, the heart is always balancing between our polar life. And it has this connection to higher dimensions, going back again to unity. We go that way. Another aspect is the fourth dimension. If you say, okay, the heart is connecting the two poles, the embryo is developing over time. Developing over time, changing its morphologic form over time is a representation of the fourth dimension. So here we have a representation of dimension 4. This is 1, 2, 3, and 4. And here we go out of the body to the reunification and go through the higher dimensions. Should be a 6. And higher. So the embryo does this evaluation or the development over time and gets a new shape in every step. And at the end of his life, it goes back to unification. And in our life, the fourth dimension is also achieved when you meditate, for example. You get, when you meditate, out of time. So you don't go through all the polar life situations, but your mind, your heart and your mind go into a timeless realm. And then we can do the short way to the heart and the short way to the higher dimensions. I hope this is not too confusing. It's the first time I use this tool, but it's how I started. You have to approach this topic by just trying to understand some of it, some points of it. And it resonates a lot with your inner wisdom. So don't be too impatient with your mind, with your brain. And try just to feel that your heart is between the two poles and your heart has the access to the other dimensions. Thank you for listening.